The ship was called Starfall, and it was the biggest thing Han Tai-Su had ever seen. It stretched for 3 kilometers from nose to tail. 5 different species worked together on this ship. They had come together to fight the Hollow, a terrible enemy that ate entire worlds. Tai-Su was nobody important. He fixed pipes, he cleaned filters, he crawled through dark spaces where no one else wanted to go. He was small for a human, with thin arms and a face that people forgot the moment they looked away. He spoke softly, kept his eyes down, and never caused trouble. The aliens on the ship barely noticed him. The Torvan were giants with 4 arms and skin like gray stone. They laughed when they saw humans. To them, humans were small, weak, and useless in a real fight. The Silvani were tall and thin with silver skin. They were polite, but cold. They thought humans were too young as a species, too simple to understand the galaxy. Even other humans looked past Tai-Su. He was not a soldier, he was not a pilot. He was just a maintenance worker who smelled like engine oil and spoke to no one. Kim Woo-jin was everything Tai-Su was not. He was a pilot, young and handsome with a loud voice and a bright smile. He wore his flight jacket like a trophy. Everyone knew his name. Everyone wanted to be his friend. One day in the mess hall, Woo-jin saw Tai-Su eating alone in the corner. He walked over with his friends behind him. "Hey, Grease Monkey," Woo-jin said. "You know they let real humans on this ship too, right? You do not have to hide in the corners like a rat." His friends laughed. Tai-Su did not look up. He kept eating his rice, slowly, quietly. "What is wrong?" Woo-jin leaned closer. "Too scared to talk? I heard you fix toilets. Very brave work. The Hollow must be terrified of you." More laughter. Tai-Su finished his food, stood up, and walked away without a word. He did not look angry. He did not look sad. His face showed nothing at all. Woo-jin shook his head. "Pathetic," he said. But someone else was watching. Captain Yoon Nari stood near the entrance of the mess hall. She was the commander of all human soldiers on the Starfall. She was not tall, but she carried herself like a blade. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing. She had seen the whole thing. She had seen Tai-Su stay calm. She had seen his hands, steady as stone. She had noticed something strange. When Tai-Su walked through the crowded room, he moved like water through rocks. He never bumped into anyone. He was always aware of every person around him. Normal people did not move like that. Normal people did not have that kind of awareness. That night, Captain Yoon sat in her office and pulled up personnel files. She typed in the name, Han Tai-Su. The file was mostly black, blocked, classified. She could see his age, 34. She could see his blood type. She could see that he had served in the Earth-Veldran War 10 years ago. But everything else was hidden behind security walls she could not break. Only 2 things were readable. The first was a note. Discharged with honors. Psychological evaluation complete. Subject deemed unfit for further combat deployment. The second was a name. Someone had tried to delete it, but she could still see the faint letters scratched into the file like an old scar. The Reaper. Yoon leaned back in her chair. Her heart beat a little faster. She had heard stories about the Reaper. Everyone who served in that war had heard stories. They said he was a ghost who moved through enemy lines like smoke. They said he killed so many Veldran soldiers that their generals thought they were fighting an entire army. They said he ended battles before they began. They said he was not human anymore, just a weapon shaped like a man. But those were just stories. Legends. Nobody knew who the Reaper really was. After the war ended, he disappeared. Some said he died. Some said he went mad. Some said he ran away to forget what he had done. Yoon looked at the picture in Tai-Su's file. A small man with tired eyes and a gentle face. He looked like someone who had never held a weapon in his life. Could this really be him? The next day, she went down to the engineering deck. She found Tai-Su inside a wall, rewiring a broken circuit. Only his legs were visible. "Han Tai-su," she said. He slid out slowly. His face was calm. His eyes met hers for just a moment, then looked away. "Captain," he said quietly, "is there a problem with my work?" "No, your work is excellent." She paused. "I looked at your file." Nothing changed in his face, but she saw his fingers stop moving, just for a second. "There is not much to see," he said. "No, there is not. Someone made sure of that." She stepped closer. "I know who you are." Silence. The ship hummed around them. Somewhere far away, voices laughed and machines beeped. Tae-su looked at her. For one moment, his eyes changed. They became empty, cold, like looking into a deep well with no bottom. Then the moment passed. He was just a tired maintenance worker again. "I am nobody, Captain," he said softly. "I fix pipes. That is all." He slid back into the wall and returned to his work. Yoon stood there for a long time. She did not believe him, but she also understood. Whatever he had been, he did not want to be that anymore. He had buried the Reaper deep inside himself, and he wanted it to stay buried. She walked away and said nothing to anyone. But she knew the truth. And she knew that someday the galaxy might need the Reaper again. She only hoped that when that day came, there would be anything human left inside him. The Kessa system had 3 colonies. 50 million people lived there. Farmers, teachers, children, families who wanted peace. The Hollow came and ate them all. When the starfall arrived, there was nothing left. The planets were gray and dead. The cities were empty shells. The Hollow had taken everything, every person, every animal, every plant. They absorbed life and made it part of themselves. Admiral Keth stood on the command bridge and stared at the empty worlds. He was a Torvan, 8 feet tall with 4 powerful arms. His gray skin was covered in battle scars. He had fought in 100 wars and won them all. "We go in," he said. His voice was deep like thunder. "We find the Hollow Nest and burn it." The plan was simple. Send strike teams to the main planet, find the Hollow Queen, kill her, and the swarm would die. But the Hollow were not stupid. They had been eating civilizations for 10,000 years. They knew how to set traps. The strike teams landed on the planet. At the same moment, alarms screamed through the starfall. Red lights flashed in every corridor. "Hull breach!" someone shouted. "Multiple contacts! They are inside the ship!" The Hollow had hidden soldiers in the dead colonies. While everyone watched the planet, they had crawled up through the darkness and cut their way into the ship. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They poured through the corridors like black water. They had too many legs and too many teeth. Their bodies were made from the people they had eaten, twisted into new and terrible shapes. The Torvan warriors grabbed their weapons and charged. They were strong and brave. They killed many Hollow. But for every one they killed, 10 more came. The Sylvani were fast. They moved like silver shadows and cut down enemies with energy blades. But the Hollow learned. They watched how the Sylvani moved, and they adapted. They became faster. The lights went out. Tae-su was in the engineering section when the power died. He had been fixing an air filter, a simple job. Now he stood in complete darkness, listening to screams echo through the metal walls. He was not alone. A Sylvani woman named Lyra was there. She was a diplomat, not a fighter. Her silver skin glowed faintly in the dark. Behind her were 5 wounded technicians, humans and aliens, all too hurt to run. "We have to hide," Lyra whispered. Her voice was shaking. "They are coming." Tae-su did not answer. He stood very still. He could hear them in the walls, clicking, scratching, getting closer. 3 shapes dropped from the ceiling. Hollow drones. Each one was the size of a large dog, with 6 blade-like legs and a mouth full of needle teeth. They moved in perfect silence. Their eyes glowed like dead stars. Lyra screamed. The wounded technicians pressed against the wall. Everyone looked at Taisu, waiting for him to run, to hide, to die like the rest of them. But something changed. Taisu's breathing slowed down. His shoulders relaxed. His eyes, which had always looked tired and sad, became empty. Not scared, not angry, just empty. He picked up a broken pipe from the floor. It was about the length of his arm, thick and heavy. The first drone jumped at him. Taisu moved. He did not move like a maintenance worker. He did not move like a normal human. He moved like something else entirely. His body flowed like smoke. The pipe swung in a perfect arc and crushed the drone's skull before it could touch him. The second drone came from the left. Taisu was already turning. He stepped into its path, drove the pipe through its throat, and used its own weight to throw it into the wall. The third drone hesitated. It had never seen prey fight back like this. For 1 second, it tried to understand what was happening. That second was enough. Taisu closed the distance in 2 steps. The pipe came down once, twice, 3 times. Each hit was precise. Each hit was deadly. There was no wasted movement, no wasted energy. 12 seconds. That was all it took. 3 hollow drones lay broken on the floor. Black blood pooled around them. Taisu stood in the middle of it all, breathing slowly, the pipe dripping in his hand. The emergency lights flickered on. Red light filled the room. Everyone stared at him. Lyra's mouth was open. She could not speak. The technicians looked at Taisu like he was a stranger, like they were seeing him for the first time. "What are you?" Lyra finally whispered. Taisu did not answer. His eyes scanned the room, checking the exits, counting the wounded, calculating the next move. He was not there anymore. The tired maintenance worker was gone. Something else was wearing his face now. "We need to move," he said. His voice was flat and calm. "More are coming. There is a safe room 2 corridors down. Stay behind me. Do not make noise." He started walking. He did not wait for them to agree. He did not ask questions. He simply moved, and they followed because there was nothing else to do. Lyra walked beside him. She kept looking at his face, trying to find the quiet man she had seen before, but he was not there. "The way you fought," she said softly. "I have seen Torvan warriors. I have seen Silvani blade masters. None of them move like you." Taisu did not look at her. "You do not want to know what I am," he said. They moved through the dark corridors. Twice they heard hollow in the walls. Both times, Taisu found a different path before the creatures could find them. He knew exactly where every enemy was. He could feel them, hear them, sense them. He had spent years trying to forget these skills. Now they were coming back, whether he wanted them to or not. The Reaper was waking up, and part of Taisu, the small part that was still human, was terrified of what would happen next. The starfall was dying. Half the ship was dark. Power flickered on and off like a failing heartbeat. Bodies lay in the corridors, alien and human, torn apart by hollow claws. The great warship that had crossed galaxies was now a bleeding animal, and the predators were still inside. On the command bridge, Admiral Keth was on his knees. Black blood ran down his face from a deep cut on his head. 2 of his 4 arms hung broken at his side. Around him, his best warriors lay dead or dying. "We have lost Deck 7, someone reported. Deck 8 is overrun. They are moving toward the reactor." Keth looked at his officers. He had never lost a battle in his life. Now he was losing his ship, his fleet, everything. "Where are the humans?" he asked. "Their soldiers are holding Deck 5. Captain Yoon is leading them." Keth nodded slowly. He had never thought much of humans. Too small, too soft, too weak. But now his Torvan warriors were dead, and the humans were still fighting. Captain Yoon was not on Deck 5 anymore. She was moving through the ship, stepping over bodies, searching for one man. She had a feeling in her gut, a feeling she had learned to trust, in 20 years of war. The Reaper was awake. She had seen the reports. 3 Hollow killed in engineering with a pipe. A group of survivors led to safety by a single man. She found him in a storage room near the medical bay. He was sitting against the wall, eyes closed, breathing slowly. The broken pipe was still in his hand. It was covered in black blood. "Tae-Soo," she said. He opened his eyes. They were empty again, cold and far away. "Captain." She walked closer and kneeled in front of him. "The ship is dying. We have maybe 2 hours before the Hollow reach the reactor. If they destroy it, everyone dies." 15,000 people. Tae-Soo said nothing. "I know who you are," Yoon continued. "I know what you did in the war. I know why you hide. But I need you now. These people need you." "I am not that person anymore." His voice was quiet but firm. "I buried him. I promised myself I would never be him again. And if you keep that promise, everyone on this ship will die." Silence. The ship groaned around them. Somewhere far away, guns fired and people screamed. Yoon took a deep breath. "I am not asking you to be a monster. I am asking you to save lives. There is a difference." Tae-Soo looked at her for a long time. His face was like stone. But behind his eyes, she could see something moving. A war inside him. A choice he did not want to make. Finally, he stood up. "There is a sealed storage unit on Deck 3, he said. "Human weapons from the Veldran War. I need access." Yoon nodded. She did not ask questions. She simply led him through the dark corridors, past frightened survivors, past dead soldiers, until they reached a heavy metal door marked with warning signs. She entered her security code. The door hissed open. Inside was a small room filled with old equipment. Most of it was standard military gear. But in the back, behind a glass case, were 3 items. A blade that seemed to drink the light, a pistol that hummed with strange energy, and a black combat suit, thin as paper but stronger than steel. On the chest of the suit, one word was painted in red: Reaper. Tae-Soo walked to the case. His hand touched the glass. For a moment he just stood there, looking at the suit like it was an old enemy. "When I wore this," he said quietly, "I killed 2,000 Veldran soldiers in one campaign. I did not sleep. I did not stop. I moved through their armies like a ghost, and I did not feel anything. No fear, no mercy, no guilt. I was not human anymore. I was just death wearing skin." Yoon stood behind him. "And now? Now I feel everything." He turned to look at her. His eyes were wet. "Every face, every scream. I remember them all. That is why I stopped. That is why I fixed pipes instead of fighting. Because I could not live with what I was." "Then why are you here?" Tae-Soo looked back at the suit. "Because there are people on this ship who have never hurt anyone. Children, families, good people who do not deserve to die." He opened the case. "I will not let them become more faces in my dreams." He put on the suit. It fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for him. He took the blade and the pistol. He looked at himself in the reflection of the glass. The maintenance worker was gone. The Reaper stood in his place. Yoon watched him change. It was not just the suit. It was everything. The way he stood, the way he breathed, the way his eyes moved, scanning everything, missing nothing. "I need to reach the Hollow Queen," he said. His voice was different now, colder. "She is the brain. Kill her, and the rest will fall apart. She is on Deck 12, the most heavily infested part of the ship." "I know." Admiral Keth's voice crackled over the radio. "Captain Yoon, what is happening? Who is this human?" Yoon pressed her communicator. "Admiral, during the Earth-Veldran War, this man killed more enemies in 1 year than your entire fleet has killed in 10. They called him the Reaper, because he fought like death itself." There was silence on the radio. Then Keth spoke again. One human cannot change this battle. We need armies, not legends. Tae-Su took the communicator from Yoon's hand. He spoke calmly into it. I ended a war by myself. This is just a ship. Stay out of my way. He walked toward the door. Yoon called after him. Tae-Su, come back alive. He stopped, but did not turn around. I always come back, he said. That is the curse. Then he was gone, moving into the darkness, moving toward the heart of the nightmare. The Reaper was hunting again. The Hollow moved through the ship like a disease. They crawled through walls, dropped from ceilings, and poured through broken doors. They had eaten civilizations. They had destroyed armies. They feared nothing. Until tonight. Tae-Su moved through Deck 10 like a shadow. His blade made no sound. His footsteps were silent. He was not walking through the ship. He was flowing through it like water through cracks, like wind through broken windows. The first group of Hollow did not even see him. There were 6 of them, crawling along the ceiling, hunting for survivors. Tae-Su passed beneath them, his blade flashing twice. 4 fell dead before the other 2 understood what was happening. They turned to attack. They were too slow. The blade cut through them like they were made of paper. 6 kills. 3 seconds. He kept moving. The Hollow were smart. They shared one mind, one intelligence spread across thousands of bodies. When some of them died, the others learned. They sent more soldiers to find the threat. They sent their fastest hunters, their strongest warriors. It did not matter. On Deck 11, 20 Hollow drones waited in ambush. They hid in the darkness, completely still, ready to jump on anything that moved. They had killed Torvan warriors this way. They had killed Sylvani champions. Tae-Su walked into their trap and killed them all in 40 seconds. He did not fight like the aliens. The Torvan were strong, but they were predictable. They charged forward and used their power to crush enemies. The Hollow learned their patterns and adapted. The Sylvani were fast, but they fought with grace and honor. They had rules. They had forms. The Hollow watched and copied their movements. Tae-Su had no patterns. He had no rules. He changed his style every second. He attacked from angles that should not be possible. He used the environment, the walls, the ceiling, the bodies of fallen enemies. He was chaos given human form, and he never stopped. He never slowed down. He never showed fear or hesitation. The Hollow hive mind felt something it had not felt in centuries: confusion. This small human was killing their soldiers faster than they could replace them. Every time they thought they understood him, he changed. Every trap they set, he avoided. Every soldier they sent, he destroyed. What was he? Kim Woo-jin was trapped in a corridor on Deck 11. The pilot who had mocked Tae-Su in the mess hall was now pressed against a wall, his pistol empty, his face white with terror. 10 Hollow drones surrounded him. They were taking their time, enjoying his fear. "Please," Woo-jin whispered, "please, someone help me." The Hollow clicked and hissed. They moved closer. Then the lights flickered. A black shape dropped from the ceiling. Woo-jin saw a flash of silver, heard wet sounds of cutting, and then silence. When his eyes adjusted, he saw Tae-Su standing in the middle of 10 dead bodies. The maintenance worker he had laughed at. The nobody he had called pathetic. Tae-Su did not look at him. He simply said, "Go to Deck 5. Captain Yoon is there." Then he walked away, deeper into the darkness. Woo-jin fell to his knees. His whole body was shaking. He had thought he was brave. He had thought he was a hero. Now he understood how wrong he was. He had never seen real strength until tonight. Deck 12 was the heart of the Hollow infestation. The walls were covered in black organic matter. The air was thick and hard to breathe. Strange sounds echoed everywhere, clicks and whispers, and the wet movement of alien bodies. Tae-Su walked through it all. Hundreds of Hollow attacked him on the way. He killed them without stopping. His blade cut through them like a farmer cutting wheat. His pistol fired shots that made their heads explode. He was not fighting anymore. He was harvesting. But even the Reaper had limits. A massive hollow warrior caught him with a surprise attack. It was twice his size, with arms like tree trunks and claws that could cut through metal. It hit him in the chest and sent him flying into a wall. He heard his ribs crack. Pain exploded through his body. He got up. Another hit. More ribs broke. Blood filled his mouth. He got up. The hollow hive mind watched through thousands of eyes. It did not understand. This human should be dead. His body was broken, but he kept standing. He kept fighting. Taesu killed the warrior with a single thrust through its eye. He walked on, leaving a trail of blood behind him. Finally, he reached the queen's chamber. It was a massive room, filled with organic tubes and pulsing walls. In the center sat the hollow queen. She was ancient and terrible. Her body was made from millions of absorbed lives, twisted together into a nightmare shape. 1,000 mouths opened across her form. "We have consumed warriors," the mouths said together. "We have eaten generals. We have devoured kings and emperors. Their strength is our strength. Their knowledge is our knowledge." Taesu raised his blade. "We have lived for 10,000 years," the queen continued. "We have killed everything. What makes you think you are different? What are you?" Taesu looked at her with empty eyes. "I am human," he said. "We do not know when to die." The queen attacked. She was faster than anything she had absorbed. She was stronger than any warrior she had eaten. Her 1,000 arms reached for him, each one deadly. The battle lasted 47 minutes. Taesu broke both his legs. He lost 2 fingers on his left hand. His blood covered the floor. 3 times the queen thought she had killed him. 3 times he got back up and kept fighting, because that was what humans did. They got back up. In the end, with his body almost destroyed, Taesu found his moment. One small opening, one tiny weakness in the queen's defense. His blade pierced her heart. The queen screamed with 1,000 voices. Across the ship, every hollow stopped moving. They shook, they trembled. Then they fell, lifeless, empty. The hive mind was dead. Taesu stood alone in the chamber, barely alive, surrounded by the body of the monster he had killed. He looked up at the ceiling, breathing slowly, painfully. "I told you," he whispered, "just a ship." Then his legs gave out, and he collapsed into the blood and darkness. Taesu woke up in the medical bay 3 days later. White lights, clean sheets, the soft beeping of machines. He tried to move and felt pain everywhere. His chest was wrapped in bandages. His left hand was missing 2 fingers, the stumps sealed with medical gel. Metal braces held his broken legs together. He was alive. He was not sure how to feel about that. "You should be dead." He turned his head slowly. Lyra was sitting beside his bed. The Silvani woman he had saved in the engineering section. Her silver skin seemed to glow in the soft light. "Your heart stopped twice during surgery," she said. "The doctors said they had never seen a body so damaged that was still breathing. You broke 18 bones. You lost almost half your blood. You should not be alive." Taesu looked at the ceiling. "I told you, humans do not know when to die." Lyra shook her head. "That is not funny. It was not a joke." The door opened. Captain Yoon walked in, followed by Admiral Keth. The massive Torvan had to bend down to fit through the human-sized doorway. His face was serious, his 4 arms folded across his chest. Taesu tried to sit up. Pain shot through his body and he fell back. "Do not move," Yoon said. "You are not going anywhere for a while." Keth stepped forward. He looked down at Taesu for a long moment. The Torvan, who had laughed at humans. The Admiral, who had said one man could not change a battle. Then slowly he kneeled. A Torvan kneeling before anyone was rare. A Torvan kneeling before a human had never happened in recorded history. "I was wrong," Keth said. His deep voice was quiet, humble. "I called your kind weak. I thought humans were nothing but soft bodies and loud voices. I was blind." He lowered his head. "You saved my ship. You saved my people. I owe you a debt I can never repay." Tesu looked at him with tired eyes. "Stand up." Keth raised his head. "I did not fight for your respect," Tesu said. "I did not fight for honor or glory. I fought because people were dying. Children were afraid. Good people were going to become monsters." He paused. "That is all. Stand up." Keth stood slowly. There was something new in his eyes. Not just respect. Understanding. "The Torvan have a word," he said. "Valok. It means one who fights without hatred, one who kills without pleasure. It is the highest honor a warrior can earn." He placed one massive hand over his heart. "You are Valok Han Tai Su, the first human to be called this. Your name will be remembered in our histories forever." He turned and walked out without another word. Yoon sat on the edge of the bed. She looked tired, too. The last few days had been hard on everyone. "The fleet is calling you a hero," she said. "The news has already spread to other ships, other species. They are saying a single human killed a Hollow Queen. Some people do not believe it. They think it is propaganda." "Good," Tesu said. "Let them think that. You do not want to be famous?" He closed his eyes. "The Reaper is not something to be proud of. It is something I became to survive. Every life I took, I remember their faces, not just the Hollow. The Veldrins, too. I can see them when I close my eyes. I can hear their voices when the ship is quiet." Yoon was silent for a moment. "Then why did you do it? Why did you wake him up again?" "Because the people I saved will not haunt me." He opened his eyes. "I will remember the Hollow Queen. I will remember the drones I killed. But I will also remember the children who got to live because of what I did. The families who went home. That is the only reason I can look in a mirror." The days passed. Taesu healed slowly. The doctors said he would walk again in a month. His fingers would not grow back, but he would adapt. News of his actions spread across the galaxy. The Hollow were not destroyed, but they had lost one of their oldest queens. They would be weaker now, more afraid. The coalition had won its first real victory in years, and everyone knew it was because of one human. When Tai Su was finally able to walk again, he did something that surprised everyone. He went back to the engineering deck. He picked up his tools. He started fixing pipes again. People came to watch him, young soldiers from every species. They stood in the doorway and stared at the small man with the gentle face and the missing fingers. "Why?" one of them finally asked. A young human soldier with stars in his eyes. "You are a legend. You could be a general, a commander. Why are you fixing pipes?" Taesu tightened a bolt. He did not look up. "Because this is who I want to be," he said simply. "The Reaper was what the galaxy needed, but this is what I need. I want to build things, fix things. I spent too many years breaking." He finally looked at the young soldier. "Find something that makes you feel human. Hold on to it. That is more important than glory." The soldier did not understand. Not yet. Maybe someday he would. Lyra visited him often. She brought him food from the Silvani gardens and sat with him while he worked. She never asked about the war. She never asked about the kills. She just talked to him like he was a normal person. "The Hollow hive mind carries memories," she said one evening. "Every Hollow in the galaxy now knows what happened here. They know about you." Taesu kept working. "Good. Are you not worried? They will come for you." He smiled. It was a small smile, sad and tired, but real. "Let them come. I will be here, fixing pipes, living a quiet life." He looked at her. and if they force me to wake up again, they will regret it. The Starfall continued its journey through the stars. The crew went back to their duties. Life returned to normal, but things were different now. When Taisu walked through the corridors, people moved aside, not from fear, from respect. Torvan warriors nodded at him. Silvani diplomats bowed their heads. Humans stood straighter when he passed. He was still small, still quiet, still the man who fixed pipes and ate alone. But everyone knew the truth now. The smallest human on the ship was the most dangerous being in the galaxy. And somewhere out there, spreading through the cold darkness between stars, a warning echoed in the hollow hive mind. Beware the species called human. Beware the small ones. Beware the ones who do not know when to die. Beware the one they call Reaper.